Hey everyone, this is Jono from Veracity with another video in my video series. This one on filtering statements in the statement viewer. So I want to talk a little bit about a notation that we use pretty often in the LRS dot notation in the interfaces. If you get familiar with XAPI and then this dot notation, you'll have an easier time using not just what I'm going to show you today, but a few other things in the LRS as well. So in the example on the left-hand side there, I have a piece of an XAPI statement. We've got our actor, Kath Sidani, and doing something, terminating some machine learning lesson, it looks like. And, you know, that's the partial JSON object that is the XAPI statement. Well, in the interface, we may want to filter and say, you know, show me anytime the verb is terminated. And the way we do that is we use the verb ID. In the interface, though, we might need to talk about the specific element in the JSON that we want to filter on. So how do we say verb ID? Well, we would do that by saying verb.id, because you can see it's kind of nested. The ID is nested under verb. On the right-hand side there, I have a couple other examples. Actor.account.name. Actually, I have that incorrect. Actor.name is Kath Sidani, and actor.account.name is 759711610, etc. And then verb.id, you see we have terminated. Canonical. What is canonical and how does that work? So what's important about these things is we keep a representation of what is in, what's in the database for the terminated verb. Well, here we know the display is ENUS. If you were to change that later to terminated with a capital T, don't do that, by the way. We'll change the canonical definition of the verb. I'll talk a bit more about that in other videos that I have coming up. I'll do one specifically on canonical and where you can and where you should not change stuff once you've already sent it, and why that is. Okay, let me quickly jump over to the LRS and let's see this in action. Okay, so this LRS is one that I use to just generate some data. I will link in the description to a couple things, just how to use this statement viewer, number one, but also how we got this LRS set up with some sample data. So often people will come in here and say, well, I just want to, I want to see all the data about a particular user in this list. And there's this little filter icon. So by Kiri Noriko, I can just click that. And now I'm looking about all of the data from this particular person. If I only want to see their neural networks and deep learning lesson here, I can click the filter button here. So that's great. And that works really well. But, you know, often there's other things that you want to filter on that may not be in your current view, or you may want to do something more complicated, like show me when there's a number that is greater than a value, or show me everything that is not this value. And with the filters that we have on this page, you can see that that's not possible. So let's go into a couple of those use cases, and I'll show you how you would do it. If you go into configure, brings up our configure dialog, and we've used this quite a bit in some of the other examples, but you'll notice additional filters here. Here's that dot notation I was just talking about. So let's filter and say that, like, you know, maybe we only want data about a particular activity. So I know I want to do this based on the object.id, and here where it's equal to a particular value, let's just grab the first one in the list, BHU Data Science, and add that filter. And you'll see even behind the scenes there, now we're looking at everything from this data science toolbox module. That's great. So might be something really useful to do that. We might want to also do something a bit more complicated. Let's turn on score so we can see the scores here on the right-hand side. Let me close that. Now we can see the normalized score. Maybe we just want people who are having trouble with this course. So let's go back in. Let's add another filter. Let me back this out. And we'll say we want this case, in this case, result score scaled, where the value is less than, I don't know, let's say 0.75% is going to be, we'll say below that, we want to like intervene in some way. Add a filter. Okay. Now when we look, we're looking at folks in here that have values less than 75%. So you can imagine you can do a lot with just that, but I want to show you one more thing because I mentioned it before. We might want to know what happens kind of often. We might want to know when something is not a value. Sometimes we get a lot of noisy data and we get like a lot of viewed statements. And when you're looking at the data, it's just you're filtering through a lot of stuff and you want to see more than one verb. You want to see completed, you want to see past, you want to see terminated, but all those views are view statements are clouding up the data. It's hard to see. So you might want to say where my verb .id is not a value. So it is not equal to, and I don't know, let's pick one that's in here we don't have viewed, but let's do past because I see a couple pasts now. Add that filter. And now when we come into the statement viewer, we can see that we're looking at everything that is not past. So, okay, I think that is going to go ahead and wrap it up here for us today. It's just a quick tutorial on how you can filter, a little bit more complex way than just using the filter buttons in our statement viewer. Everybody, thanks for watching and have a good one.